Hi, everyone, and welcome to Ask a Doulagiver. My name is Suzanne O'Brien. Today, I have an email that I have got to not only share with you, but I have to really make sure that we understand what makes all the difference in the world to having a positive end-of-life journey. I cannot stress this enough. So this email comes in, Dear Suzanne, I am here at the hospital with a good friend of mine. Her father is dying and she is freaking out. Please help us. What can I do? Okay. I wish that I could say that this was not the typical email, but we get emails and phone calls and requests all the time. People are in that very end stage, maybe diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, families in denial, not knowing what to do, or actively dying. What can we do? And please, please hear this, that a positive end of life experience starts way back here. It starts not at the very end. You know, I called, tried to be of as much service, but there are decades and years of things that you cannot undo and you cannot put in place right at that very end when you're in crisis. So it starts back here with you and me, and it starts with you and me, not as the nurse, not as the doula giver, but as a human being, saying and thinking about what I would want or what I would not want for end-of-life treatments while I'm healthy, while I can think through things while I'm not faced with crisis, where I can explore and say, okay, well, what is quality of life to me? And that is subjective. What would make it possible for me to be at home if that's where I want to be at the end of life? When would I not want to have treatments or medicines to continue my life going if they were just keeping me alive, but not really having any quality of life to me? These are things that I need to think about. These are subjective decisions, and they are some of the most, if not the most important decisions you will make in your life, is thinking about it ahead of time. Because if you don't, then you surely won't have what you want, but it's also going to be left up for your families to figure out if you're not able to speak at that time. And a lot of times when we're ill, we're not able to really be involved or be advocating because we just don't feel well. And it is the difference between having a positive end of life and not having one. And end of life is difficult enough. It is so challenging to say goodbye to someone we love in this physical body. Why are we making it 1,000 times more difficult? Why are we not embracing the beauty that end of life can provide as far as teaching us about life, teaching us about togetherness and compassion and presence, right? And forgiveness and all of the things that show up at the end that are super important. But if we do them now in our lives, it changes everything. So for me, these calls and these emails, when people are at the very end in that last phase and in crisis, are absolutely heartbreaking because I almost can't do anything to help you at that point. Now I'll do what I can, be of that support, show up, but because it's so advanced at that moment, we can't go back and think about quality of life. And if you want to be home and talk about forgiveness and having family conversations and all the things that go along with a really important closure and the 3 phases of end of life at that moment. So I have to say this, and I please want you to hear this, is that a positive end of life by 80 to 90% starts way back here. And that's doing our advanced directives, having that family conversation, and again, living in the most authentic, best way that we were meant to live, to follow our calling, to be compassionate, to show up for one another. So your advanced directive and having that conversation is not something that should wait. You should do it as soon as you can. And again, a positive end of life, the work starts now. The work starts here. This is Ask a Doulagiver. If you have any questions on this, please let me know. We are so happy to help you to figure that out, to give you resources, but doing that advance directive and thinking about what you would want or not want for end-of-life care is one of the greatest things you can give, not only to yourself, but to your families. All right, this is Suzanne O'Brien. This is Ask a Doulagiver. If you have questions for me, please email in at askadoulagiver@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to either answer them on this show or to do that in an email to you directly. Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful day.